Hi everyone, it's Sean Robinson from Port Coquitlam, Canada. I teach science and digital literacy at Riverside Secondary. Thanks so much to Nataliia Kiseleva from Russia, inviting me to share with you some of the platforms that I use for distance learning. Now, before we get into those platforms, I just want to talk about how we need to go back to the basics in this difficult time of distancing from our students due to self-isolation from COVID-19. The basics of learning include communicating with your students, offering learning experiences to your students, receiving learning artifacts from students, and then facilitating feedback to the students, which leads us back into what we're going to communicate and how we're going to offer learning experiences. But I want to keep it short and sweet. I'm just going to focus on the platforms that you can use. And you might even say, well, okay, I don't have access to any of these platforms. Please just look at the platforms. You might be able to substitute something else, but really see how I'm including the ideas of communicating, offering learning experiences, receiving artifacts of learning, and then offering feedback back to the students, and really focusing on those basics. Here we have something called OneNote class notebook, and I've given students an assignment, and what I want to show here is the to and fro of learning that we have here in this platform. Now, I can ask some questions. Different students can actually respond. If you look at it really carefully, you can see how there's different initials with different responses. You see my handwriting in there, responding back to them, asking for more information, more clarification. And that really aids in helping students to get that to and fro of learning. I'm not grading this or assessing this yet. I'm really just helping them struggle through whatever challenge I've given them. And that is called OneNote Class Notebook, and it's from Microsoft. There's also something called Teams, and if you take a look at this as well, this is Teams. I've tried to cancel out everything that has students' names in here, but it's another platform for communicating, allowing students to communicate with each other, to ask questions of me, to share links, and this really helps students as they collaborate together in their learning. It's another product from Microsoft, and you can see that I've created smaller teams within this team so that students can actually do group work together, share their ideas, share resources, and then come up with some kind of artifacted product in the end. The last platform I want to share with you in this time of social distancing is something called Edu Blogs. Edu Blogs is really a public digital portfolio. The teachers can have them, the students can have them, and it really facilitates a great to and fro, delivering assignments to the students, receiving assignments back, and being able to give students feedback. Well, here is my blog, and here's an assignment that we're delivering to our students called Community Connection. The great thing about Edu Blogs is that you can embed so many neat things like a Twitter feed or even a YouTube video. Here's the video that's just outlining what we're going to be talking about and what this assignment looks like.
Mr. Robinson, Mr. Bearsall, we're your COL teachers. We're here.
And this allows the student to get a really personal view of what the assignment is looking like. Then, of course, you can embed a document. Here we have our criteria sheet, the nuts and bolts of what we're asking the students to do, including a rubric to say, these are our expectations. This is what exceeding expectations looks like, what meeting expectations looks like. We can give some links, some examples, even alternate assignments. And it's a great way to be able to really communicate effectively with our students, really what we're asking for in a particular assignment. Now here's the student side of the learning when using Edu Blogs. And this is a completely different assignment. This is Maggie's blog. She's customized it in the way that she likes to, share with the world. And she did a post called Connections-Based Learning, Final Post for Tim. This was a different assignment where we were working on creating adaptive technology pieces for a fellow with Huntington's disease. And one of the things was around creating some kind of remote to help him navigate his TV. And so here's her blog. We've got some text, pictures, She gets to share how she helped. She shares what she learned, debriefs the experience. And then lastly, just to show you, here's my response. Now, I responded in a different way regarding the criteria for learning, and that I would use something personal, something that wouldn't be public, something like our OneNote class notebook, where I can give her individual feedback and talk about assessment, that kind of thing. But here, I'm just engaging in what the student did, want to share how proud I am of her, talking about how she's made a difference and really appreciating the work that she did. I also asked, hey, would you mind if I shared this post out? So I feel pretty comfortable about sharing this with you. And she was okay with that. She said, yeah, share it with anyone. And this brings that cycle around back to the communication. I'm communicating back to my students, looking at what they've done, making some decisions about where to go next. And this helps with that cycle. I just want you to focus on that cycle. Whatever tools that you decide to use, the cycle is the important thing. How am I going to communicate with my students? How am I going to make that connection with my students? How am I going to share what I want them to learn? My next thoughts are around having my students use items around their home to see which two objects, when rubbed together, create the greatest static charge. This is part of my Science 9 class. And so that's what I'm going to be doing in that realm. And I'll be sharing that with them. I'll be allowing them to create some kind of artifact of learning. In this case, I'm thinking it might be a video. And then I can offer them feedback. And I can also give them feedback throughout with their OneNote class notebook. So when you look at what kind of platforms and tools that you're using, you want to have a platform, maybe multiple platforms, where there can be the most communication. Now, I want to say that there's also video chat features within Microsoft Teams, and I haven't used that a lot with students. I haven't had to experience something like this isolation before, but that's something that I plan on giving a go as well. How can I do some video conference, whether individually or with groups with my students, just to maintain that communication? Because really it's all about making connection with our students and then allowing them to experience some things that they might not experience on their own, guiding that experience, offering them feedback, and then taking them to the next steps. Thanks so much, everyone, for listening to this video. Thanks, Nataliia, for asking me to participate in this conference. Really, I just want to wish you all well, and I want you to keep considering how you can keep connected while keeping your distance in this difficult time. Thanks so much.